I can help at the foundational level for families to heal, at that point we can change the world.
I'm here with Tyann, super excited. She's the queen of guest experience. She's the owner and at the Branson Family Retreats. She's the co-founder at VR Mastered. She's also, by the way, been in this industry for 17 plus years. So she is a true veteran in this space, expert in everything related to tech stack, communication flows, guest experience, branding, marketing, owner relations. So most operators that I speak with have enough with just trying to run their business. You happen to have two, somehow you manage to do all the rest. So what's your approach to time management?
One of the things I know, God made my brain the way it is. And the joke is, I'd rather start a business than clean my house. But I've worked it out.
How do you ensure that the people that you're delegating to actually respect and also strive to achieve that same level of, let's call it what it is, unreasonable hospitality? So what's been your approach to delegating without sacrificing on that quality of guest experience?
So one of our values is being proactive and looking ahead at what could happen. We know not just your name, but we understand the reason why you're coming to the area, why you're gathering together, and we're looking for ways to make it seamless as much as possible.
We know that reviews are more important than they have ever been, and it's tougher. Expectations seem to be also higher than ever before, more competition, all these things.
Delivering exceptional hospitality is not difficult.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hospitality Edge podcast, where we bring together what we think are two sides of the same coin, real estate and hospitality, and where we aim to bring together the best leaders, operators, founders, investors, and entrepreneurs in the vacation rental and short-term rental and hospitality industry, so they can tell us about their stories, the lessons that they have learned along the way, and maybe even some of the mistakes that they might have made along the way, so we don't have to make those same mistakes ourselves. Today, I'm here with Tyann, super excited. She's the queen of guest experience. She's the owner and at Branson Family Retreats. She's the co-founder at VR Mastered. She's also, by the way, been in this industry for 17 plus years. So she is a true, veteran in this space, expert in everything related to tech stack, communication flows, guest experience, branding, marketing, owner relations. There's a lot of things that we will aim to cover in this short amount of time that we have here today. So Tyann, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I want to start with a question that we like to start with here, which is, if you were to start all over again in your business, right? You go back 17 years ago, you're getting into this space, and is if there was anything that you could change about the way you approach things, what you decided to focus on, maybe a mistake you made you would have liked to avoid, what if anything would you do differently?
Sebastian, thank you so much for having me. And okay, so can I share two things?
Please.
So okay. So the first one is, I would not have done the giant bed in the bag comforter sets for my beds. That now I look back and I'm like, oh no, because you cannot wash these big, thick, fluffy comforter sets after every single guest stay. And one of the reasons guests come on vacation, one of the activities they love to do is to have sex on the comforters. And it's like, oh gosh, that is just gross if you can't wash them every single time. So that is the first one I would change. The
Uh-huh.
second one is,
So wait, which would you get instead, or what would you recommend people get instead?
yeah, recommend. So what you do is it's called triple sheeting. It's
Okay.
where you've got two flats, and in between them you can put like a thin duvet or a thin blanket, but then all of it gets washed after every single guest stay. So you're not putting a crummy, I say crummy, but a gross
Yeah, yeah,
big
yeah.
thick comforter that gets washed twice a year back on the bed for the next guest.
Smart. Awesome. Thanks. Okay, perfect. What's the second one? That's a
So
first good one. Yeah.
The second one is way back when I did start, guess what we used for our calendar? Sebastian, it wasn't even a spreadsheet. Remember those little pocket calendars that are like this big and you open it up to 1 month at a time? And then I'd write their name and how many people and their phone number and draw a line through the dates that their stay and everything. Yeah. So way back when we didn't really have property management software, the PMSs, there was just a handful out there. They were really, really techy, very not user friendly. So that's what I used with one property. And then I got two properties. So then I had
Mhm.
two books. And then guess what happened? The thing that you absolutely have nightmares about, a double booking, because at that point I was also not just Verbo and my direct site, because that's how I started.
Mhm.
Uh, well, when Airbnb came on the scene, then there was Airbnb. So I did not have software automatically syncing things in real time. So if I could go back, I would absolutely, even just with one property, start using a PMS that is API integrated with the platform so that my calendars are synced in real time. You can do iCal, but that's not real time. There's a delay and you could end up with a double booking. So that is my second one.
Mhm. Wow, that makes a lot of sense, and great tactical, practical pieces of advice there. So I love it. So Tyann, let's get into a little bit of the story there. So just at a high level, before we get into the details of the timeline of the story, could you tell us, you're involved in many things today, 30-foot view, what are you spending most of your time on these days? What are the different kind of umbrellas of businesses and opportunities and projects that you oversee, just to have a little bit of context on where you're at the moment?
Sure. And yes, it is plural. So we have Branson Family Retreats. That is our brand of large homes down at Table Rock Lake, Branson, Missouri. And then I also have Missouri House Vacation Rentals. House is the German spelling, Haus. Those are located in Missouri wine country. They're historical homes. It's where I bought my bank that you can legally launder in the Ozarks. And then I'm also on the board for the Missouri Vacation Home Alliance. So I am really involved in advocacy in both the local towns as well as at the state level. And then, oh gosh, so I am also with Touch Day Digital Guidebooks as their Queen of Guest experience and consulting there. And then I also serve on educational committees for the VR Nation group, for VERMA, the Vacation Rental Managers Association. I am putting together the educational track for their upcoming VERMA Foundations series that starts in Savannah in April. And then for Missouri Vacation Home Alliance, I'm organizing an education day at the Capitol, which will follow up with a lobby day where we're going to have a scheduled legal takeover of the Capitol with all of our vacation rental, short term rental folks coming to talk to the legislators about short term rentals in the state. So that's the quick part off the top of my head. I also do consulting, I do website design, a professional photographer. I'm married, have three kids. My husband has three kids. We hired one of his kids and her husband. There's four grandkids. So my grandma name is Nana.
Oh wow. So tell me something. So most people, most operators that I speak with, have enough with just trying to run their business, their operation. You happen to have two plus, somehow you managed to do all the rest. So what's your approach to time management? What's your approach to how you decide, where you spend your time and what areas you delegate? Because I mean, that's a lot that you have going on.
It is a lot. And one of the things I know, just God made my brain the way it is. And the joke is, I'd rather start a business than clean my house. And the way my brain operates is I'm finding maybe I have a version of ADHD. I don't know. But the
Let me
way I,
diagnose you right now with all the businesses you have. I don't think you could if you didn't have ADHD.
but, I I've worked it out. I could not do it all without the support of my husband, my team, my family. My children have grown up in the industry. I built my very first vacation rental when I was pregnant with my third son, and we're talking about giving him a big job to do this summer during high season, when he's 17 years old and he's grown up in it. So it's very much just learning things, successes and failures, trying things out. I am comfortable living on the edge. I'm comfortable testing things and trying things. Also, the older I get, because hey, granted, I did not start this business at 5 years old. I did start at 27, so I am in my 40s. I'm a Gen Xer, or as I like to call myself, a Goonie. And I've just learned through success and failure and figuring things out. And I'm at that point where, you know what, let's just do it. I might bend the rules quite a bit, or if I don't agree with the rules, I might try to change them. So, for instance, Missouri Vacation Home Alliance, we have filed a bill this week, and I'm really quite excited to get that bill, get it attention, and maybe, who knows, maybe in one session we can get it passed on both and get a Senate bill in there as well and get things changed right away, or it could be a several year long process. I don't know. But I do know that, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to change the world. And as a kid, I thought only the president of the United States could change the world. Well, I have learned I do not want to be president of the United States, but I do know and love leading people and serving people in that way and finding the ways that I can do that. And I know vacation rental industry, this is what I was made for and what I can do. And I so appreciate and am honored for the trust that others have given me to put me in those positions that I can blaze through and lead and make a difference.
Yeah, no, I love it. That's awesome. And by the way, so one of the things you and I talked about of the record is your view on precisely kind of the responsibility that we have and the impact that we also can have, in the vacation rental space, in the hospitality space, as far as really contributing to essentially, one person at a time, one guest at a time, one family at a time, changing someone's world, right? So tell us a little bit about your view on that, and you know how do we bring that down to earth as far as like what we can do with our guests to make sure that that kind of impact that we want to have ideologically, is actually, let's say, operationalized every day, every guest, every reservation.
Absolutely. So I look at each of these families that come stay at our properties. Every single guest, what is it we're providing for them? We're providing a space for them. We're providing a home base, very safe and comfortable space for them to come together and make memories. It builds bonds within a family. It can heal within a family as well. And I see the family unit, no matter how your family unit is, whoever it's made up of, you're a family unit. I mean, that could even include your dogs. I mean, a lot of folks are like, yeah, the dogs are part of our family. But your family unit coming together and spending that time outside of your home where there might be, frictions and arguments and things like that are just there, but you can come into a space that is free of that, and they can take the opportunity to really grow within each other, because that family base is the foundation for our society. No matter what country you live in, no matter where you travel across the world, it's the family that is the solid base. And there's a lot of hurts, as you go through generations, things, because we're human. We're not perfect. We're human. We make mistakes. We hurt other people. Um, there's so much hurt out there. And to me, it's, if I can help at the foundational level for families to heal, at that point we can change the world. And we even go so far as $1 per night of every single stay at every single one of our properties we donate to our local casa, which is the court appointed special advocates for foster kids. And they are helping also all the foster kids that are torn from their family and in horrible situations. They're there to advocate for the kids in court to find the best way for them to proceed, whether it is a helping them with the foster family and later being adopted, or maybe even reuniting with their family, their original family. But that to me is, it lines up the missions and values of family. So that's my big thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one of the challenges is, you have this expectation, this set of beliefs around what a proper guest experience should be, right? An excellent guest experience should be. But then, like you said earlier, you need a team around you. Otherwise, you would not be able to be involved in so many other things, right? You need to have a team that is delivering that experience. So, how do you ensure that the people that you're delegating to actually, respect and also strive to achieve that same level of, let's call it what it is, unreasonable hospitality in the good sense? um because you might have that view, but then it's always a challenge to find people that join your team that will see it in the same way. So what's been your approach to delegating without sacrificing on that quality of guest experience?
So one of our values is being proactive and looking ahead at what could happen, so that you're not being reactive to situations. It's as simple as always checking that the propane tanks, there is a full one next to the grill, so that the guest only has to swap it out if they run out during dinner. Because if you're grilling something and you run out of propane, that's not a good experience. You don't want to have a half cooked steak and then have to go get a new propane tank. So we always make sure there is a full propane tank next to the grill. So just the different things with being proactive, and it tells the guest, we know you. We know not just your name, but we understand the reason why you're coming to the area, what you're going to do in the area, why you're gathering together. And we're looking for ways to make it seamless as much as possible. So we're always communicating with our guests and telling them things and answering their questions before they even ask them. And that's really important with our communication flow, is, because I've been around for so many years, I have looked back and thought, okay, at what point do my guests ask me for directions? At what point do my guests ask me for the door code? What other questions are they asking me about? Oh, the parking, the Wi-Fi. And I've looked at that timeline of when they ask these questions. And so then I go back and I answer those questions before they even ask them. So what I found best is directions come 14 days before arrival. Our digital guidebook is sent out immediately on confirmation of booking, so the planners can go ahead and start planning and looking at all the information about the house and the area. But then again, 30 days out, because that's when they're really starting to even plan more things, sharing with their family, getting things situated. So being a proactive and not just communications, but in preparing the property for them too. And it's one of those things that you're not just meeting expectations, but you're in a way exceeding the expectations,
Mhm.
because not everybody, goes to that level of communication either. And then the other thing completely went out of my brain. So
No,
yeah,
no,
ask me
no.
another question.
That's fine. I mean, I think what you said is super interesting because essentially it makes me think of the fact that you can have two approaches to this. You can say, "Hey, let me find people," which I'm sure you also need, by the way. Let me find
Mhm.
people that are exceptional about, delivering this exceptional hospitality. But that's very difficult to do, right? It's very difficult to find those people.
No, well, no, but see, delivering exceptional hospitality is not difficult,
No, 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 no.
because
But to your point is basically saying, like, with the process that you can build yourself with that communication workflow, you are taking control of that guest experience and not leaving it up to the person of like what they decide to communicate or not communicate, right? but rather
right?
like, hey, this is the process. It is built in a way that, like you said, proactively sends out the information to the guest before the guest even thought of, asking the question. So in other words, is building it, building the process, building the workflow, building the sequence, so that you don't have to depend on the human to react, right? To just be reacting all the time.
Right, exactly. And it's the thing is with the way communications are in the vacation rental industry, the bar is so low, it does not take much to be exceptional.
Hmm.
So back just a few years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, Touch Day Digital Guidebooks did a guest communication study and asked over 2,000 travelers. They said, "Hey, are you receiving communications from the host or property manager? How many communications do you remember receiving? And did you make any actions on those communications, such as add more nights or find local recommendations or do an upsell?" And what they found is, gosh, I think it was over two-thirds, maybe close to 80% of guests said they only received two or fewer communications from their host. That's it.
Hmm.
That's all. So it's like, okay, so all you have to do is send at least 3 communications, and you have just beat the majority of host and property managers out there. Now, the
Hmm.
thing is they can't just be, "Here's information, it's super duper long," and the guest looks at it and says, "TLDR, too long, didn't read. I'm not even going to, now you want me to search for my door code. Not cool." So instead, when you break it up into easy to read communications and different types of communications, so
Yeah.
text and email, we send a physical greeting card to their mailbox as well. So you have different types of touch points. I mean, Sebastian, we're at 25 touch points from the time of booking to the time of arrival. And it's, again, it's different types of touch points. And it's always saying, "Hey, we're here. I'm Nat and Tyann, and we're Branson Family Retreats, and we're looking forward to your stay. We're preparing for your stay. We expect you." And what happens is when they arrive, we've had guests say, "You know what? We're not even there yet. We're on the road. We just got your text message with your road trip playlist. This is awesome. We're ready to give you 5 stars already." So there's different little things you can do that just increase the experience, just those little bits of increments. And the thing is expectations. And I like to tell people this all the time: unmatched expectations. So you're setting the expectations here. If you don't match those, it is the death of businesses, friendships, marriages, movies, and 5-star reviews. You have got to match the expectations. If you don't at least match them, you're in trouble. And then you exceed them.
Hmm. Hmm. Powerful. That's very powerful. Wow, I'm surprised. 25 touch points, and that's before the guest has even checked in, and you've already give them, plenty of reasons to, as you said, leave you, a positive review. And we know that reviews are more important than they have ever been, and it's tougher. Expectations seem to be also higher than ever before. More competition, all these things. uh, Tell me more about those touch points. I'm curious. So what are some things that you do as far as that communication workflow goes, that you don't see anyone else doing, that to you is kind of like your edge, right? Like you think this has made a huge difference in the experience for your guests.
So one of the things is that greeting card. So when they book, we have folks who book far out, so even up to 2 years in advance. I mean, we've got summer 2027 reservations already on the books. That's 2.5 years from now. But what we do is they get a greeting card that has our favorite hiking trail. It has why we like that trail, and it simply says, "Hey, we're really looking forward to seeing you." We're not trying to upsell them anything at that point. It's just to give them that physical touch of the love language, the language of appreciation, just that physical touch. And they put that on the fridge. They put it in their kitchen window and they can see it and look at it and be like, "Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I get to go to the lake. It's going to come up." And I really look at what are the love languages. Have you heard of the love languages, Sebastian?
Uh, I believe so. Yeah, my girlfriend keeps telling me to read the book, but I haven't. So tell me a little
Okay,
bit more.
so
But I know there's physical touch. There's words of affirmation. Those are the ones I remember.
yes, and then acts of service.
Okay,
Let's see, gifts, and oh, I can't think of the fifth one right now.
reinforcement, like
Um,
encouragement, words of reinforcement, something like that. Like
words of
words
appreciation
of
is one one. We
okay, we talked about it already.
Yeah, acts quality time.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah,
Quality time. Yes. So maybe that's going to be a whole nother podcast episode. By the way.
yeah. Let's
Okay.
save people's relationships here.
Well, no, it's not just your relationship. So yes, go
No,
take
I
the
can see
quiz.
how it goes beyond. Yeah, with guests as well.
Exactly. So speaking those love languages to your guests. And the thing is you're not going to have every guest take the quiz. You don't know what their love language is. So in your communication flow, you got to make sure you hit each of those love languages at least one time, if not several times. So in sending that
Huh.
card, it is a gift and it is a physical touch. It's something physical for them to do. And that way I'm reaching that point. When they book, they immediately get two things: an email that says thank you for booking, and then it has a bunch of detailed information you have to have in a confirmation email. But then they also immediately get a text from us with our digital guidebook, and that says, hey, we're excited for you. Look at this active service. We have created this information for you about the area and to help you get excited and plan. And it's also quality time because we've spent a lot of time making this cool, making this good, making this something that's usable for you. So those are two things. My other favorite touch point, though, is our road trip playlist. So we have
Mhm.
a playlist on Spotify, and that's embedded into our Touch Day digital guidebook. And on the day before they leave, they get a text saying, hey, check out our road trip playlist, because most of our guests are road trippers here to Missouri. And so then they can click through directly to that road trip playlist. And it's got all mix of family friendly songs, all kinds of generations. And now the song that's on top is local group The Hey Goods just released a single, and super excited about that. So our guests get to listen to that song right at the top.
That's so interesting, and I love. By the way, this is making me see things in a different way because most people would say that it's difficult to deliver an exceptional hospitality. You're saying it's actually not as hard when you take the time to be proactive and to build the system and the workflow, which is an interesting perspective, right? Because otherwise you're running around like a headless chicken trying to react to everything that the guest is asking, and that's what makes it difficult. I think there's always an element of especially after the check-in, where at that point, I mean, you've done what you can as far as the touch points goes, and
Mm-mm.
you and
You've got
you're
it.
you're
Yeah,
outside of. Oh, there's more.
yeah, there's more. I mean, so Sebastian, when they get here, there is a card that
Mhm.
says welcome, and it says why we chose the things that are in the gift bag. And then there's the gift bag. But we always, 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 for Branson Family Retreats, we call them. We call them up so we can put our phone number at the top of their phone list. They hear our voice.
When
It
they check in,
reminds
you
them,
call them the day they check in,
no, the evening of check-in.
the evening of check-in.
And
Okay.
yep, remind them it's us. We're a small family business. We're not a big corporation. If they need anything at all, just ask us. Opening up that line of communication so it's not awkward at all. And then for our Missouri house guests, because it is a different type of guest, we don't call them, we text them. But it does the exact same thing, putting our phone number up there at the top saying, hey, communication lines are open. Don't hesitate to let us know about anything at all. And right there, putting our faces, our voices, the fact that we're anticipating what they need and what they might like, it it gives us grace as well, because we're not
Mhm.
perfect. Our properties are not perfect. Things go wrong, but there is an element of grace. So a couple years ago, we had a guest arrive in the middle of July, which is the middle of high season for us. They got there at check-in, and the house was not clean. The
Mm.
cleaners had completely missed it on their schedule. Now, because of our relationship we've built with the communication flow and our social media, they gave us not only grace, but at the end of the week, they made a homemade coconut cream pie and left it for us in the fridge.
Wow. Okay, so turning talk about turning things around. I mean, yeah, interesting. Let me ask you this. So I think we both agree on the importance of everything that you are, mentioning. Yet I think we also both know that most people won't go to that, to that level, um, which is where problems come from. Now, there's two there's two challenges that I think people would bring to the table when they're thinking in their heads, hey, I want to implement all of this, but, and these are the two challenges, and I would like to know what you would tell someone that's thinking about that as a reason why it's good that you do it that way, but I couldn't do it in my own business, right? So first is the idea that some people believe that everything you're mentioning is only possible when you're talking luxury, when you're talking, you know, huge ADRs, when you're talking, thousands of dollars a night. But yet, I think there's ways to achieve it, right? And I think you would probably agree with me, even with, let's call it budget, or maybe commodity, or maybe like just normal good properties, but not like ultra high end. What are some ways in which you can do everything that you're describing, irregardless of the price point that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I'm not luxury.
Hmm.
I'm not like totally budget either.
Hmm.
We were a little bit higher than that. But in my Missouri house vacation rentals, my lowest price point is $100 a night.
Hmm.
The thing is, it takes the same amount of work and time to manage that $100 a night property as my 10 bedroom, $2,500 a night property. Exact same. There is a better margin on
Hmm.
one over the other, of course, but in finding those processes and putting them into place according to who your guest is. So, yes, I said 25 touch points for Branson, but my Missouri house vacation rentals is not 25 points of touch because it is a smaller booking window. It is a
Hmm.
different type of guest. It's very, very different. So you have to look at what is best for your guest. Maybe it is three or four touches, that's it, because they book last minute. They might book within a week. If they're further out, then you have the more opportunity to touch them more times. So, way back when, about I don't know how long ago, 8, 10 years ago, I was a consultant for HomeAway when Verbo was known as HomeAway. And one of the things that they found is that 60% of customer service calls were actually the guests calling and saying, I haven't heard from my host, the owner, the property manager. Do I still have a reservation? It's been months. There's silence. I haven't heard anything. Am I still good to go? Is my money safe? What's going on?
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, we have so many tools at our fingertips now that that is absolutely positively not necessary for a guest to be questioning, do they have a reservation? Is it still good? Is it legit? Those types of things. So the more you communicate, and I absolutely encourage you, over communicate, don't under communicate. You can absolutely over communicate. Let them know you're there and that you're available. And yes, they do have a reservation and you're expecting them. And I use tools to do this because we're small. It's me, my husband, his daughter, and her husband. There are four of us, and
Hmm.
over two brands. There's now 25 properties. As far as bedrooms go, we're I think around 120 bedrooms or so. Uh, but we use tools and that are really, really core communication tools. One of them is our property management software, our PMS. We have email templates that go out according to the reservation, the timing. It says exactly the booking dates, the confirmation number, the house, all those details that every single PMS should have, but
Hmm.
it has a comprehensive communication with the triggers and the templates. And it knows which property to which brand as well and puts the right signature in the bottom of it. That is one communication tool. My other communication tool I utilize is our digital guidebook, which is through TouchStay. And the integration between the software property, the PMS, and the digital guidebook brings those details from one into the other. So there's all these touch points saying they're legit, they know what's going on. This is made specifically for you. It's got their name, the house, the details, the dates, all of that. The door code even shows up in the digital guidebook. And then TouchStay has what's called Memo. And I utilize Memo as one-way text messages that send those bits of information to the guest of me talking to them, but I don't expect a reply because I don't want the noise of thumbs up, heart, and or just a, all those little quick questions or just a thank you. But I do want when the guest has an actual question that is not answered in the guidebook or it's kind of an outlier thing. So that has cut away so much noise for my team that we can focus on the questions that the guests really do have that are very specific to them and is not answered anywhere else. And we can give them more attention. And then our communication flow takes care of the guest and it uses their name and all the details so they feel like we are talking specifically to them. It's in our brand voice. It's not corporate. It's not Surfer Dude California either, but it's our fun brand voice specifically for us. They know it is us talking to them.
Hmm. Wow. No, I love it. I love it. And I think this goes in line with what is mentioned in the book, Unreasonable Hospitality, where he's making a distinction between luxury and hospitality, and is saying luxury is paying more or something that's more expensive. Hospitality is just something where there's more thoughtfulness, right, or more proactivity. So I love the example where they talk about the hot dog and how, by buying a $1 hot dog to, this family in the restaurant that had visited all the fancy restaurants in New York, they were heading to the airport right after their dinner, and they just said a comment where it was like, "Oh, the one thing we haven't tried in our stay in New York is a street hot dog," and this was a fancy, restaurant, fine dining experience and whatnot. It didn't cost them much to go out there and find the $1 hot dog, but the fact that they did it made them completely, surprised, of course, and made them have an exceptional experience. So I think to your point, there's ways to do this regardless of whether you're talking about $100, as far as an ADR, or thousands of dollars, right? um, but I'm thinking, the whole, giving a call to the guest. I can see how that's, a touch point that adds a lot of value and that guests appreciate. But it also leads me to, I think, what would be the second sort of objection to implementing this from some businesses, which is potentially, how scalable is this, right? Yes, if you're a boutique, and most, I would say companies that decide to stay boutique for a reason, it's precisely because they want to make sure that they don't lose that personalized touch by just going, and growing like crazy, and it's the idea of, quality being more important than quantity, and that's fine. And I think there's a lot of value in that, and we see it, right? The reviews of more boutique hosts and operators tend to be better than the reviews of massive operators, perhaps with some exceptions. It just becomes harder and harder at scale, which leads me to, how do we do this at scale, right? How does someone, take these ideas and applies them if they don't want to stay boutique, but they want to do so at scale?
Yep, it's a very good question and one that I will push back on that it depends upon what you as a company value because there are big property managers with hundreds of properties who call every single guest. And so if it is important to you, you will do it. You'll find the way to do it because think about what kind of grace, what kind of goodwill you're building up. So that means okay, you can take care of any issues that come through faster, with fewer refunds. So you're already saving money at those points. You're saving time, even though you're making more time for that phone call. You're increasing the relationship with the guest. You're increasing the likelihood of a good review. You're increasing the likelihood of a repeat guest. So, for example, there is one of the biggest shows, which I've already talked about. Their single just came out, The Haygoods. They sell out almost every single show here in Branson, Missouri. They've been around for over 30 years. It's siblings who put on a show that could absolutely 100% be in Vegas and have an amazing run in Vegas, but they're not. They're in Branson, Missouri. I mean, we're talking lasers and smoke and tap dancing and fire upside down. The entrance is one of the brothers coming in on a zip line upside down playing his guitar. I mean, this is full on entertainment. But you know what they do, Sebastian? When someone buys a ticket, their front office calls every single ticket buyer to make sure they get the seating that they need. Do they need accessibility? Do they need an edge seat for an aisle seat for a reason? What is it that they need for their seats? And they call every single person that comes to their theater. And it is incredible. All you have to do is look up the reviews and how much they lean into the guest experience. I mean, there are over 6 million seats sold over the years, and they're already selling out for several shows next year. To me, it's like, okay, yeah, you say, oh, I'm a property manager, I've got 100, this is hard to scale. You know what? It depends upon what you value and
Hmm.
what you're going to do. Because look at the Haygoods. They're calling every single guest when their theater seats what, a couple thousand people
Mm,
every night,
I love
and they're
it.
making those because it's important to them. And there's other property managers that I know in the United States who are doing the exact same thing. They actually call their guests twice. So they call after confirmation of booking just to verify dates, see if they need any help, what questions they have, and then they call again closer to the stay. And I think that's just incredible, absolutely incredible.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would also add to what you're saying in terms of validating your point even further, which is what's harder to scale, figuring out a way to call your guests, or trying to survive with bad reviews, and at the end of the day, it's it's not gonna work out if you don't go the extra mile, because it seems like I mean, I love the concept of like good is the enemy of great, and I think that's we're seeing that more and more, as far as like perhaps what used to be acceptable, and maybe you've seen this a couple of years ago, right now just it just doesn't cut it, right? So have you seen that
And
though? Have you seen an increase in expectations? Do you feel like
yeah,
what was acceptable a few years ago is no longer acceptable as far as guest experience goes?
absolutely. I got a story for you. So, way back before Airbnb was huge, that was when I didn't have a communication flow in place. It was, oh, let's see who's arriving today. And let me check my Gmail templates and send, oh, I guess I need to send somebody their door code. Well, guess what? I was also raising three littles at home and school and preschool and things like that. I had another business as well with a line of children's room decor that I hand created and shipped out all over the world. So I was doing a lot of things. Yeah, I probably have ADHD. So what happened is middle of summer, I forgot to send the email with the check-in information. And the guest arrives to the front door. It's over 100 degrees outside. They're trying to get in. I did not send the information. I totally forgot. Then they're trying to call me, but I'm busy with my babies and my toddlers, and I'm not answering the phone. So it's an hour that they're standing at the front door trying to get in the house. They can't get a hold of me. Finally, I see they've called. I call them back. I give them the information. And guess what? I got away with sending them out for pizza and ice cream and still got a 5-star review. Whereas nowadays, one, you could completely lose that reservation. Absolutely. They'll go somewhere else. They'll full refund. You've lost it, dates blocked, everything. So yes, the expectations are different. The grace you're given is different, but we do have tools to manage those things. And it goes back to setting the expectations. So if you set a really, really high expectation and you don't deliver that, then you're going to have a lot of issues. So some people, they'll say, well, set really low expectations. It's like, well, don't undercut yourself as well, so there is a
Hmm.
fine balance. You're going to make mistakes in figuring that out as well. And it's just a learning curve. It is what it is. You can, also have a mentor, a coach to help you figure those things out, which is always really great too. But yes, the entitlement is something we also have. We keep an eye out because
Hmm.
we've had that, and that's the point too. We're like, this is who we are. We've stated what we're giving you. This is our description. This is our marketing, and we will hold fast to that. We'll give you this, but we're not going to go so far as that.
Hmm.
And so you just really have to hold your line on that. Now, one thing we do, and I want to bring it back to Will Gadara's Unreasonable Hospitality, is, and we've kind of talked about this, how there's some points where you need to go over, above, and beyond. And Will talks about how 95% is operational efficiency and budgeted, but that 5% left, that's where you go all in. And one of the things we did this past summer is we went all in on delivering by hand really fancy donuts to every single guest that came to Branson. And at first we thought, oh, well, let's do charcuterie boards. Those look fancy and they're healthy and great, right? Didn't get much reactions. When we started delivering the donuts for vacation, and I mean these things are massive donuts, and they're super fancy with all the icing and the sprinkles and s'mores and marshmallows and look like incredible. Once we started doing that, the feedback and the level of guest experience just skyrocketed. And we hand delivered them. So we personally tried to hand deliver as many as possible. If we couldn't, we would DoorDash them. So there's still a
Hmm.
human hand delivering them. But the ones that I got to see, it was just their faces and their excitement. I mean, I did end up busting up a party with one delivery. I get to the door and they let me in, and there at the table wearing a tiara and a sash was great grandma turning 90 years old, and they were celebrating her birthday. So at that point, I looked at them. I said, "Is everybody here?" And they're like, "Yeah." I said, "Would you like a family picture? You should take advantage of me standing here to get a picture of all of you." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, yes, we've never had a picture of 4 generations together. Thank you so much." And that, Sebastian, is that unreasonable hospitality where just that little bit goes above and beyond and being proactive and paying attention to what's around you and what the guests, yeah, they need to come together. They wanted to come together, but deep down, they're going home with even a story and a legend to tell for generations to come.
Well, that's priceless.
Yeah.
That is priceless. Wow, I love it, Tyann. We'll have to do a second episode here because we'll have to cover more on the love languages, and there's much more I'm sure to cover in terms of your story of how you got started and grew the separate brands, and believe me, I could keep you here for hours. But I think this has been very very insightful, very enlightening, very thought provoking. Thanks for being so practical as well with your advice. I love it. I think there's certainly some key takeaways for people to go home and apply immediately. Where can people stay in touch? Where can people connect? Where can people reach out if they want to learn more about everything you're involved in?
So personally, you reach me on any of the social media at Tyann Marcink. It's the same handle, TYANN MARCINK. You can follow my properties at Branson Family Retreats and at Missouri House, the German spelling HAUS. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, all of those, as well as my website, TyannMarcink.com, as well as BransonFamilyRetreats.com and MissouriHouse.com. And they're all linked together. So if you only got one of those websites, click the About, learn more about my husband and I and our story, and you'll link to all the other sites as well.
Love it. Thank you so much for taking the time. It was a pleasure to have you on, and yeah, thanks so much. It was amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sebastian.